gain eternal value. We can't be happier unless we are able to have values that are stronger than death, that are stronger than time, that endure with faith. We have to recognize the importance of permanence in homes, of understanding between labor and capital, and of the respect and understanding of the problems of governing a nation. All these things must be known by people who love to find realities, who want to support what is right, but do not simply wait until they can condemn something that isn't. All these things mean that we've got to change the tune, change the tone of things. And here comes Christmas now, with our little Santa Claus all around. The merchants doing very well in spite of the collapse of the stock market, which is a little symptom, by the way, of the facts of life. That Santa Claus isn't going to die because the stock market broke down. Something may change. We may have to find a new way to allow him to control our lives more. But these values will endure. And the values for which he represents, will live regardless. We're all going to find the ultimate joy in giving, the ultimate happiness for what we do for others instead of what others do for us. Somehow we got our civilization backwards. We've built it into an all wrong pattern. There are very few things that can be done for us that will help to make us happy, that we couldn't do for others and help to make them happy. But we are all self-centered. We want what we want, and we do not really care very much what others get, if any. Actually, unless we care more for others than we do for ourselves, our civilization must fall. We cannot build a security upon selfishness. We cannot endure and succeed on patterns of competition and self-interest. Long ago, our early American socialists declared that we must definitely recognize that selfishness, competition, is the death of trade. Cooperation alone can permit a civilization to grow. Cooperation in religion means various denominations having respect for each other. We remember from the history books the horrors of the Inquisition and the terrors of the Crusades. And yet today we have holy wars involving half the people of the earth almost. The lovers of peace are fighting to the death. Therefore, with all this instruction, with this moral realization, Santa is bringing a large bundle of facts for us to think about. The greatest gifts that he can bestow this Christmas is to open our eyes to the reality and values that come to us from the tragedies and trials of our own experiences. If Santa Claus brings us the key to our own problem, if Santa Claus brings us an answer to our own selfishness, in one way or another, expanding our insights, deepening our understanding, and strengthening our idealism, then Christmas will be great. Christmas will be great if it reminds us of something, if it recalls the greatness of things, if it does what it did for the Romans 2,000 years ago, reminded them of a beautiful earth with flowers and plants and all kinds of creatures, a beautiful world of opportunity, a world that is a garden, in which we are gradually changed into a graveyard by our own misdemeanors. So if Santa brings us this year a little love, a little bundle of understanding, a little more of hope, a little more resolve to do those things which will most advance our own lives and the lives of those we love, it will be indeed a very valuable and important Christmas. It will be a Christmas that will not be easily forgotten if it's the one when for the first time we give ourselves with our gifts rather than give the gift and keeping ourselves. This is beautifully represented in a famous poem, The Vision of Sir Longfall, in which the giver must be there or the gift is meaningless. All these things are coming, and we read the paper every day, and every day there is a new disillusionment. And we say to ourselves, there is nothing we can trust. If we realized that there never was anything we can trust except the integrity. There's nothing we can trust unless, as individuals, we understand life, know what is trustworthy, and do not mistake illusions for realities, and do not mistake selfishness as a cardinal virtue, which it is not. So maybe some families will have to cut down a little on the gifts. They may not be able to get a new car or something this year. But if they stay home and understand each other, here is a great gift. If we can find ways in which answers come to long-delayed questions, long overlooked problems. If the family that is a little rocky decides this year that it's going to get stable, that we're going to think a little less about each one but a little more about the family as a group. If a family is about to break up, now may be the time to mend it and put it together again. It can be put together. It's selfishness and arrogance and suspicions are overcome. Also, if we expect virtues, we are much more apt to find them. It is when we doubt, and finally it comes to a point where nobody really cares. These things have been growing worse and worse. Now, when we think Christmas also, I think another point is valuable. In the Christmas celebrations to this year, whenever you go or whatever you do, recognize the communion that is involved in this sacrament. Christmas must be also a sacrament. It is a moment of realization in a lifetime of uncertainties. It is a moment of recognition, dedication, and of gratitude for the wonders and beauties of life that we have probably overlooked and ignored. When everybody sits down for a big Christmas dinner, there should be something come out of it besides indigestion. There should be something more valuable, something more important. I think it would be very wise to have some kind of a little service in your own home, at the dinner table perhaps, 2 minutes of dedicated and devout gratitude for the fact that we live in a world where we can do something worthwhile if we want to, where we can help to make things better or leave them as they are, where we can find opportunities to improve the lives of people we know, where we can be closer to our children or our grandchildren or the neighbor's children, that we can do all kinds of things which are privileges and which we have neglected because we've interpreted them as hard work. The hardest of all work is a life devoted to selfishness. There's no reward. There's nothing in it. So in connection with Christmas, let us bear a little bit about the thought that we have been given on the winter solstice the privilege of another year, another lease on the life of our own kind, a life that is limited, a life that must begin and end. But we have another opportunity to grow. We have an opportunity to give something to the service of other people. We have an opportunity to be kind. We have some time in which to learn useful things. It's not necessary for us to escape on the grounds that if it's any good, it's work. If it's no good to anybody, it's pleasure. This is the type of thing that we have to change. We also have to maybe try and see if we can do a little secret giving to those we know are in real need. Something to give is far better than what we get. All around us now, people are gathering for this type of thing. They're beginning to realize what we've known from the beginning, but no one wanted to believe, that the way of materialism is bad, sad, cruel, and worthless in its larger meaning. There is nothing we can do to the outside world that will do more good than to protect it from our own inroads. We can't add something to the substance of nature, but we can damage our own participation in that substance by our attitudes and conduct. So this Christmas, a little understanding of life, that we have maybe another year, maybe another 10 years, maybe 50 years of further life in this world. Years that should be depending upon the circumstances, but by which we have an opportunity to do something that is valuable, something that will make life better for people. If we don't know what to do because we work and we do the best we can, let us make sure that we are doing a good job of what we are doing, that we don't just hate our job and worship only the paycheck, that we really put ourselves to earning what we get instead of hoping that we'll get it for nothing or cutting down on quality in order to increase profit. We can clean up all those little things. Then we can look over carefully the problems of our personal lives. We have hours, many hours, in which to do things. In spite of our feelings on the Muslim question at the present moment, we remember Muhammad's 24-inch rule. We have 24 hours in every day, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest and repose, and 8 hours for service. And this is the type of life that is valuable and can be doing something. We can increase knowledge, we can contribute to various causes, we can do part-time voluntary work with causes we believe in, or we can improve our natures so that we become more useful in the employments where we are. There's something to do besides waste time. We have become the greatest time wasters of all history because we have created a vast entertainment world which is not very entertaining, in which we escape from responsibility into something that is little better than nothing. This idea of looking for entertainment to escape from self is not good. If we were more critical on these points, we'd get better entertainment. We would have things we really want to see or places we really want to go. But simply to go and work for a number of years, retire on Social Security, and consider ourselves to be fortunate when we don't have to work anymore is an illusion. It's the most terrible illusion of all. We're only happy when we're doing something useful, something constructive, something that helps others or improves ourselves as useful citizens. So let's hope that old Saturn or Cronus, old Father Time, when he turns away and turns the world over to the little grandson who is going to follow him, that this new year that is so close to us now is going to be the beginning of the greatest reformation humanity has ever known, the final exhaustion of self-interest, the final recognition of the fallacy of success as we know it. That instead of this type of thinking and this type of building, we're going to get together and try to make this world back again once more into the garden that it was, a beautiful place to come into, a fine place to live, and a wonderful memory when we go. These things could be. There can be a heaven on earth. There can be a beautiful world here, and it can hold many more people than we have even now, if we didn't abuse it, if we didn't try to own it, if we didn't try to subdivide it, if we did not try to cheat each other out of some small part of it. If we could build back the golden age, we would surely have the new Atlantis. We would have a world in which knowledge and skill would be used for the common good, where everything that is necessary to man would be available to man without great financial tragedies, that it would not be necessary to buy what is necessary for survival, that the individual would not have to be wealthy in order to stay healthy, that it is absolutely part of a great program It was part of the entire dream of the ancient